good Tuesday morning. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world and also around the Middle East festivities that affects the stock market as we toll into that. It's just an ever-changing world over there. There's no doubt about that. And it starts, of course, around the Strait of Hormuz with oil prices and uh, you know, bombs, etc., happening over there. The latest this morning, I'll tell you before we look at the market watch, Secretary Bassett said there may be a deal Tuesday or Wednesday, he claims, on opening the Hormuz with freedom of movement. We've heard that before, right? And that has happened. And then, of course, it abruptly comes to a stop again up on that as well. So oil is tumbling down today after these comments. They were up earlier in the day in the pre-market, and then after those comments were made just about 30 minutes ago, oil prices have started to fall again as well. So with all that being said, let's look into that market watch. And because of what we are hearing here from Secretary Bassett, market responds positively here as well, as a deal around the Hormuz is near, according to Secretary Bassett. Out there, Dow Jones responded positively, 534 points up right now to 53,775. The S&P 500's up 57 points to 76,62, and then the Nasdaq's up 350 points to 26,264. The small cap index, well, it's positive today as well, 17 points up to 3,007. Now, Bitcoin technically up 200 points today to 63,653 as of right now. With Bitcoin, yeah, just finding that home at 63,000 range as of the last, well, actually this whole week, since today's only a Tuesday. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. First one we're going to look at, well, your favorite breakfast place out there, or your favorite fast food restaurants per se, McDonald's. Yes, they're up 0.78% right now. McDonald's posted earnings of $3.38 per share, while the estimate was only $3.32 per share. So McDonald's per share average is up here as well. Revenue, though, is the problem. $7.1 billion in revenue for McDonald's. Well, they anticipated, the market wanted $7.13 billion, so they missed on their revenue side. But yet, McDonald's still up 0.93% here this morning. And then there's Palantir Technologies out there, data analytics. And for some reason, the site we use to put these things out, TraderView, I'll throw them under the bus here. Well, they're not recognizing Palantir's number. And it might be because they're over 20% up here this morning as of right now. They opened 15% higher as well. Blowout results for Palantir Technologies for their second quarter. 150% surge in U.S. commercial revenue for Palantir Technologies. And they're up right now, I can tell you, 20%. I can't show you, but I can tell you how big up they are here today. And everybody's paying attention to that number today from Palantir. And then next up, SpaceX is what we're looking at here this morning. We're looking at SpaceX for one reason and one reason only. One, you can see they're trading for $116.40, even though they are up 1.65% right now. They are well below the initial IPO, the initial public offering amount when it went live about a month ago. The reason why we're paying attention to them, well, they're reporting their second quarter results after the bell today. It's a debut earnings report since having their IPO in June as well. It was a record IPO at the time. Now way down overall as well. Here's what the expectation is for SpaceX later today. Revenue of $6.93 billion. Earnings per share is a loss of 26 cents for SpaceX. SpaceX doesn't make money, folks. It hasn't actually, I don't think ever has it made money, but it does not make money. So the loss of 26 cents is the earnings per share expectation today. So at least this morning, before they announced their numbers after the market closed today, at least this morning, they're up 2.26%. SpaceX is here this morning as well. Later on, when we come back and look at stocks, we'll look at a local company that, international presence on semiconductor. We're going to look at Whirlpool as well. And then Amazon's in the news. based off of what their founder is doing out there. And I talk about Amazon and I get the hiccups, folks. Did you? That's kind of a weird thing to have happen out there. But we'll look at those stocks coming up later in the show. But I told you the Strait of Hormuz, there reportedly could be a deal in place today or tomorrow. Keep our fingers crossed for that. Oil prices have fallen dramatically here today after that announcement came out. It's about, like I said, about 30 minutes or so ago. As well, they did rise earlier today and then big drop off. And, because of that war over there, we're waiting for that final word. But because of the war over there, President Trump, well, the War Department is supercharging missile defense production. So what they've done is they've signed framework agreements with Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman to expand production capacity for components used in two defense systems. And two defense systems, by the way, that are heavily used over there in the Middle East with our festivities over there as well. Those amounts are being depleted of like the Patriot missiles, for instance, out there. Having to get those done and made in a hurry to continue to deal with what we have to deal with over there in those markets. The deals aim to quadruple output of terminal high altitude area defense interceptor missiles. Those are the THAAD missiles you hear about all the time. So it's going to triple their structural components and support a threefold increase in Patriot advanced capabilities, which they call those the PAC 3s. All of that's to quadruple that production of those two specific missiles as well. Now, the department said that the agreements would give suppliers long term demand commitments that they need to invest in tooling, facility upgrades, and even workforce development. Basically, consistency here coming up on making these weapons. Financial terms and production timelines were not included in the release from the War Department and their announcement. Northrop Grumman, though, they said it entered into agreements worth a combined $3 billion. The deals include a $2 billion agreement to supply rocket motors and safety devices, and then another $1 billion agreement to increase deliveries of those THAAD components as well. So that's the problem when you do a job or do a announcement or a big contract with a private company. Well, the problem is they have to announce it because of their publicity and their stockholders, et cetera, out there. And then, so we know that's coming our way for the defense side of things. And then more closer to home here. Now, this has to do with tariffs, but President Trump's administration is not a shocker. They're now facing 25 new lawsuits from Democrat led states, all because of the latest round of tariffs that he put out on Monday. These are those international ones that he put out based off of uh, forced labor markets, etc. Now, all Democrat led states here, and Arizona is one of them, folks. Our attorney general has not found a lawsuit against this administration. She does not like attaching her name to. New York Attorney General Letitia James is the one leading the joint lawsuit. Now, the argument here is tariffs handed down last month are a thinly veiled attempt to circumvent the Supreme Court's ruling against Trump's earlier import tariffs. Now, these latest tariffs, they hit 59 countries and the European Union. Now, this is the one that's surrounding around the forced labor violations. And they say that these countries are not cracking down on imports from certain sources. So, like I said, tons of states here getting involved in this. Arizona is one of them, where we do the show out of here as well. But not it shouldn't shock you that California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Maryland, Maine, Michigan, Minnesota, gosh, even out here, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, North Carolina, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and other states led by Democrats, right? Virginia, Vermont, Washington, and Wisconsin, all involved in this out there as well. I just wanted to go through the amount of states suing him. I just could have made it a song or something. The Trump administration ordered the U.S. Trade Representative to investigate the 60 trading partners, all for the unfair trade practices earlier this year. So, what the investigation found was 59 countries in the EU were not doing enough to crack down on imports produced by forced labor. Well, then Trump went and pointed to that Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 that allows the president to impose tariffs on countries determined to be engaged in unfair trade practices. And I saw the attorney general here in Arizona, Chris Mays. I saw her press conference yesterday, and she was all about how, you know, I don't know, she wants unfair trade. She wants forced labor to give us cheaper products. I don't know. It was a whole press conference from her. That, like I said, if Trump breathes, there's a lawsuit against him from our attorney general here in Arizona as well. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying he does her job and suing very well. That's what I'm saying. Hey, speaking of updates here, lettuce seems to be safe in a lot of areas, but definitely not in Michigan. Michigan health authorities came out yesterday and reported the first two deaths of the ongoing cyclospora outbreak. Yeah, we have officially two deaths out there. Now, the Michigan Health Department said that both individuals had significant underlying health conditions. That of course could have been affected by the cyclosporasis and specifically dehydration more properly that they probably dealt with. Michigan health officials said that cyclosporasis, well, it's generally not considered life threatening if you do get it. It's unusual for fatalities to occur here in the United States of this deal. I was reading more about this parasite. Happens all the time, specifically in summer months because of heat and things. And they're able to catch it and stop it from having a huge outbreak. And this time they just didn't catch that outbreak. Michigan has reported 11,234 cases. Yeah. 193 hospitalizations tied to the outbreak. Based on the reported cases, the state, Michigan, seems to be the hardest hit by the outbreak. And the number of reported cases has actually outpaced those reported by the CDC. Yeah, Michigan's reporting more than the CDC is actually able to put out there. The CDC has received more than 6,700 laboratory confirmed cases since May 1st. The count does not include cases that have not been confirmed by a laboratory. So that's where Michigan and Ohio do it differently. They're reporting them even though they haven't been confirmed by a laboratory, whereas the CDC does wait for that to happen. The CDC has been updating its case count on a weekly basis. I just that ticker, right, just has to be spinning on increasing, right? Michigan's been reporting every weekday, so in terms of their reporting style of it. So Michigan was ground zero of this. Michigan and northern Ohio it was ground zero for this parasite outbreak, all based around that lettuce there, reportedly from Taylor Farms, and mainly. And I feel bad for Taco Bell; they didn't do anything wrong. They just sold the lettuce, Taylor Farms, right out there. But yeah, Michigan. So don't eat lettuce if you're in Michigan, folks. Hey, the U.S. housing market, it's trending in two different directions right now, at least from a new report from Zillow is telling us. And they found that demand for luxury homes, well, that is huge. That is growing in astronomical levels. But starter home sales, well, they're low, they're softening, and there's a lot of growing inventory in starter homes as of right now. Zillow's data defines starter homes as those of the 5th to 35th percentile of home values in a given region. Luxury homes, they're in the top 5% of a region's homes values. That's how they separate the category. So if you go around the country here, a typical starter home is worth about $202,000. That's 2.3% price increase from a year ago. The typical luxury home also worth about $1.9 million. That's up 3.1% from last year. Inventory for starter homes is up 4.5% year over year in June. Then it fell 5.2% for luxury homes. Price cuts were also more common for starter homes. Just 25% had price cuts in June. 20.6% of the luxury home listings actually had any price cuts at that time as well. So isn't that interesting? Luxury homes up going up. So if you're looking for a house, I get it. Inflation, interest rates are kind of cost prohibitive on that, but starter homes are there's more demand for them. There's less demand for them, I should say. There's more inventory on the market, and kind of now's the time to probably hop on that. You could get a price deal on it, but then with the interest rates, it could force it up at that point. But something to if you're looking for a house, looking to get into the housing market, might be a way to get into it there as well. And we now have official numbers from that UFC White House fight here, and it's not unexpected. The loss actually was better than expected out there. And the UFC, well, they lost $30 million putting on that Freedom 250 event. That was the one attended by the president at the White House back in June. So it's a one-off event out there, and the UFC expected losses in this deal, partly because they didn't sell tickets. They just invited the crowd in there. The organization saw an increase of revenue for the second quarter of 2026, even with that $30 million loss. Of course, UFC is owned by TKO Group out there. An estimated 4,300 people, including President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance, they showed up for that invite-only event out there on the south lawn of the presidential compound. Now, kind of the first event there of the 250-year celebration that happened. Like I said, one of the reasons for the losses, well, they weren't able and didn't sell tickets to the general public for the event, so no revenue out there. Initial costs were actually expected to be more than $60 million. But the UFC was able to recoup some of that money through sponsorships, media exposure, those types of partnerships that drove down that loss amount to about $30 million instead of that higher amount. Now, the event did attract about 34 million viewers worldwide. So it was one of the most watched mixed martial arts events of all time at the same time as well. So in terms of TKO, they reported their earnings yesterday, and that was a big part of it. And they did say that UFC event at the White House, well, it had significant effect on their numbers as well with that $30 million loss. But they did still report revenue increased 29% year over year. TKO's at $535.7 million for the second quarter. So and that they own also WWE is another entity that they own. So there was a $64.7 million increase in media rights. Of course, that was driven by that TV deal, that $1 billion TV deal that they signed with Paramount last year. And they're in Paramount now this year as well. So big loss on that Freedom 250 event. But TKO as a whole looks like a healthy company out there as well. And folks, when we come back here at McCollum on Business, we keep this Tuesday show rolling. Well, it's that time of year. I saw a sign about 2 weeks ago here close to the studio. You're going to see it more and more here leading up to the Halloween season. Yes, we'll tell you about Spirit Halloween. It's officially haunting season, at least in their eyes. Some local stories coming your way as well, so stay tuned here, folks. Come on back. McCollum on Business. And we're back here, McCollum on Business. You just saw the commercial there for The Real Matrix. Every Friday at noon, a new episode comes out. And that's the only show programming that we have that is not on YouTube. YouTube does not like that program. So we had to move it over to Rumble. Rumble.com/user/TME Media is where you can find that program every Friday at noon. Now there's 40 episodes up already. They're not time constrained. So you can watch all 40 and get caught up on those over on Rumble right now. And every Friday, a new episode comes out for you. And then, of course, on the free podcast system, Apple, Google, Spotify, Podbean, Podchaser. I probably forgetting a couple of them, right? Just search The Real Matrix Angry Patriot. Comes right up for you as well. Now, a lot of that audience is on the free podcasting systems, which is fantastic. But don't also forget it's on Rumble as well, folks, for you. If you want to watch that show out there, and all of our programming otherwise is on Rumble as well. As soon as we get done here with our live programming here in the main event, of course, the pit stop, we put them up on Rumble as well. For those of you, we just utilize that whole page since the Rumble's over there. In case you don't like YouTube, you have Rumble as an option for you. And then, of course, everything, including the live programming, is on YouTube as well right now. This show's live at 7 a.m. As soon as we get done here, we put it up on demand for you there on YouTube. Same thing with the main event, live here, 8 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday now. We're back to our 5 day a week schedule here. Our summer vacation of Fridays off is done. You can catch all of our programming on demand and live here for this show and the main event here on YouTube, TME Media AZ. Every show has a podcast to it, an audio podcast if you'd prefer listening to it. Well, except for this one. This show does not have an audio podcast. We just keep it to the visual side. But every show also has social media except for this one. This one does have it. Nothing's been posted on it yet. That's coming up here for you. But also, the Real Matrix, no social media for that show either. Otherwise, the pit stop, the main event, well, just do a search for that out there. Just the main event with Steven, the main event with Dale, or, of course, the pit stop with Steven. It pops right up for you on your favorite podcast system. Like and subscribe, share us with your friends out there if you would. We'd greatly appreciate it. And with all that being said here on this Tuesday, let's get into that Market Watch. Well, like I said, Strait of Hormuz, reportedly there's a deal coming into place today or tomorrow to open the Strait of Hormuz with freedom of movement. Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent mentioned that today in a press conference. Markets rebounded positively. We are waiting for SpaceX's first IPO monthly quarterly report to come out after its IPO. Well, that'll be later today, but Dow Jones right now up 577 points. The S&P 500 is up to 64. Nasdaq's up 375 points as of right now. The Russell 2K is the 17-point advancement. And then Bitcoin up 200 points here today. 63,683 for Bitcoin here today as well. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. Local company that isn't an international company out there on semiconductor is what we're going to look at. They do chip stuff, and they're up 0.77% as of right now. In pre-market today, it's kind of what caught my eye. They're up 7% in pre-market. So as you can see by that graph there, kind of an up and down kind of a day. Not dramatic, but enough to only have it 0.77% up right now. But their second quarter results did top expectations. They earned 74 cents per share. The expectation was only 71 cents per share. They had revenue of $1.6 billion. The expectation was $1.59 billion as well. But the interesting part of On Semiconductor that investors will pay attention to, better than expected margins for them as well in their announcement. So On Semiconductor up 0.77% here today. And next up, well, might not be your favorite, appliance company, but it's one of the better ones here in America and ones that people look at a lot. Whirlpool, yes, little change here earlier today. Now they're up 10.34% here right now for Whirlpool. Yeah, posted second quarter loss that was larger than analysts anticipated. Whirlpool lost and adjusted 21 cents per share. Analysts that were polled by the company, or the analysts that were polled, for the average, expected a loss of 5 cents per share. The revenue was $3.52 billion, so that was below expectations as well. Then the company lowered its full year earnings guidance as well out there. I'm double checking right now, folks. Like I said, the site that we use, TradeView, it wouldn't pull up the Palantir stock earlier today for us. So I'm double checking this because Whirlpool had a tough analysis here. I find it hard to believe. You know what? They're up today, folks. Whirlpool is in fact up. I wanted to double check that with all those losses. So the investment world must see some buy coming here for Whirlpool. They're up 10.25% right now, even with all of that bad news here on Whirlpool. So big buy-in for them as the day has gone on as well. And then there's Amazon we're looking at here this morning as well. 1.84% down right now. And mainly they hit a record yesterday, folks, is what they did. Their stock was at a record high based off of stronger than expected earnings for Amazon. So its market value for Amazon as of yesterday was $3 trillion. Well, the founder of Amazon decided that was the time yesterday to sell 15 million Amazon shares, which are worth about $4.1 billion. Yeah, so the stronger than expected earnings, record high on the stock, market value to 3 trillion. Founder went, I'm going to go ahead and sell 15 million Amazon shares and take that $4.1 billion and pocket that, is what Jeff Bezos did. Now, the sale was disclosed as a planned sale under Rule 10b-5-1, trading plan adopted on November 14th, 2025. The sale occurred on Monday through Morgan Stanley, so yesterday as well. Amazon shares this year, they've rallied 23% this year in 2026. But anytime somebody sells 15 million shares worth of stock, well, usually a negative day comes on that, and you're seeing that with Amazon here as they are down based off of Jeff Bezos selling all of that stock. And that's a ton of stock, don't get me wrong, but it's also a blip of what he actually owns within the company as well out there. And like I said, we right over here by the studio, we see a sign popped up about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now, saying coming soon. And yes, folks, it's that time of year where Spirit Halloween begins its march toward the Halloween holiday. Yes, they've officially opened its flagship store over in Egg Harbor Township in New Jersey. They opened it up on August 1st. Now, the first sightings of Spirit Halloween's banner, they become a tradition across the United States. You know, it's similar to opening of football season, start of school. Yes, it's signifying that it's fall. You know, the accompanying spooky season is what it signifies. And it's killing season, right? Let's face it, right? It's Halloween, the fall. A lot of horror shows come out and movies come out this time of year. The pop-up costume purveyor known as Spirit Halloween. I even butchered their name there. They're going to open most stores in company history this year is what they're planning to do. 1,575 stores is what they're planning to open. Last year, 1,546 stores. So records the last couple years, they're expecting a new record this year as well in terms of stores. Doors will open across the nation coming up over the next several weeks. Now, the company, no permanent location of this company at all, owned by Spencer Gifts now, by the way. All of the 1,500 stores are pop-up stores. And, costumes, props, candy. Well, it's a unique corner of the retail market that Spirit Halloween has found as well. The ubiquity of locations and the shells of retail apocalypse, right? They take over old stores. And anytime something looks like it's closing, they pop up a Spirit Halloween sign on it. It's pretty funny to see. Big memes out there with that. So, how big is Halloween? Well, it's got to be big because Spirit Halloween has made this into a large destination type business every fall. Well, Halloween spending was projected to surpass $13 billion in 2025. That's according to the National Retail Federation. Only one third of consumers told them that last year's version of the Halloween survey that they plan to spend at least specialty. They plan to spend money at specialty Halloween and costume stores last year. This year, we'll see with the economy the way it is. That's obviously disposable income out there. But Spirit Halloween's seeing no downside with opening record stores as well. So it's that time of year, folks. I call the fall every year killing season because of Halloween and all the murders, stories, and movies that you see out there. Yes, folks. All right, a Virginia company, well, they plan to bid on 4,000 acres of state land trust to build a utility scale solar farm. It's happening outside of Buckeye, is what they're going to make this bid on. It's called Apex Clean Energy. They applied for a 30-year commercial lease on the parcel. It's off State Route 85 and Gas Pipeline Road, if you know that area well, is what they're looking at. Now, Arizona State Land Department owns that land now and everything. Now, the land goes up for auction in 2 weeks with a minimum bid starting at over $43 million just for the land, folks. So they're bidding on and they're bidding for the land and they want to put a 350 megawatt Grand Verde solar project, is what they would call it. And it would provide enough energy to power over 100,000 homes. More than $700 million in improvements are proposed alongside the solar array. Now, Apex, some additional equity partners, they're expected to cover that amount if they do get this land. The improvements, land improvements would be, new access roads, overhead transmissions, as well underground transmissions, on-site maintenance facilities. You need a substation there for the arrays and everything, and they also want to put battery energy storage systems on site as well, which is comes along with these solar arrays nowadays as well. So if they win the bid and gets the Maricopa County's approval to develop that land, Apex would plan to begin construction in the next 18 to 24 months. They plan to be operational in 2028 is their time frame. Apex is the proposed long-term owner and operator of the solar project, and that's how they do it, right? They build it and then they manage it for 30 years, and that's how they make their money back as well. And an old staple, that's new coming out if that goes through. But an old staple in Old Town Scottsdale is officially closing. They put out on their social media. Fun little fact here. Used to work with the owners of this facility. He actually left the company I worked for, as I knew him there to go and buy Old Town Tortilla Factory back in 2001. And I had to look it up. I haven't talked to him in years, but I had to look it up. He is still the owner here and shutting it down. And we're talking about the Old Town Tortilla Factory there in Scottsdale. It's been there for 30 years. They bought it. The guy I know that bought it, he bought it 5 years after it had opened and kept it running all this time. The Old Town Tortilla Factory has decided to close. This is their statement after 3 decades of serving Scottsdale. It is with much gratitude that we say goodbye to our restaurant that has been a gathering place for celebrations, special occasions, family dinners, date nights, and countless memories. That's what they put out on social media on Friday. This is the restaurant, if you don't know, is built on a 75-year-old adobe home right around 69th Avenue and Main Streets in Old Town Scottsdale. Just south there, I think it's Indian School Road, if I remember correctly. So it's considered a hidden gem because you could walk right by it and not know it was there. It was known for its Southwestern and Mexican fare, homemade tortillas or house-made, I guess is what they call them in restaurant circles. Tons of tequilas and expensive ones as well. But the big thing was their, patio that they had you could sit out on when the weather's nice out there. Now, in that farewell announcement on social media, the ownership did hint at a future venture coming their way and everything. So, best wishes there to Chad, and I know it was Chad and his dad are the owners of that restaurant when they first bought it. Must hope to them here as they go on to their next venture as well. So now I'm probably part of the problem. I haven't been there in probably 20 years, to be honest with you. So, right, we're all slackers on that front out there as well. I supported it heavily when I was in the corporate world leading up to, until I left that out there. But good luck to them. But you hate to see those big restaurants like that, shutting down. We're seeing more and more of that here throughout Arizona as well. Now, I'm going to tell you about an Atlanta area amusement park out there. But it's because, folks, we need to get together. We keep losing out on our bids here for sports teams. Just did we just miss out by a few $1 billion, right? Well, we lost out on those dinosaur bones we told you about 3 weeks ago here in that auction. Well, that was our chance, folks. Yeah. The Atlanta Area Amusement Park, it has a roller coaster there. It's the largest zero G stall roller coaster in the country. Well, they actually closed for the last time on Sunday. They did announce it before this park did. They announced it in June. They were closing coming up here. But the park is known for its roller coaster, Air Force One. They claimed the title of being the largest zero G stall ride in the country. Air Force One features a 146-foot first drop at an 83-degree angle. The ride reaches a top speed of 64 miles per hour, according to the amusement park, which I should give it its name. I don't know why I haven't yet. Fun Spot America is the park that is closed here. This roller coaster has a height requirement of 48 inches. It's only about a 100-second ride as well. It reaches maximum vertical G of 3.75, a minimum vertical G of -1, max lateral G of plus or minus 1.25 Gs as well. So why am I mentioning a park in Atlanta that's closed? Well, folks, the roller coaster's for sale. That's right. The roller coaster's too large to fit at either of the company's Florida theme parks, so they're looking to find a buyer for the ride. Trust me, folks, I did deep research on this. No prices listed. I'm just telling you. How much it's going to cost? Check your seat cushions. Are you in on this? Are you in on this venture we should go on here and get a roller coaster, zero G roller coaster out there? I say we do it. I say we make an effort for it coming up here as well. So I'll keep you posted. I'm going to be looking for pricing and the things like that because I don't even know who to contact. Where do you contact to buy a roller coaster? My question. Hey, folks, appreciate you joining us here on this Tuesday edition of McCollum on Business. Of course, we'll be back. We're here back to our 5-day-a-week schedule. We'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. here live at YouTube. Come and join us, would you? Have a great day, and the main event's coming up next.